This is the Yang lab. So you are assigned the duty of creating a Yang module for an imaginary switch. We will call it my switch. And this switch must provide a configurable host name, CPU and memory state information, up to 12 configurable interfaces. For each interfaces, it should be possible to configure description, speed, and MTU. And for each interface, it should be possible to read the current rate. So let's go to the server and create a YANG file. You must install previously Pyang in order to validate your file. In this case, I have installed it previously. So let's create my model, my switch, and we will start by setting the headers. So all modules must have headers and then the actual three. So module, my switch, and the header statements will be namespace, which can be URL in order to try to be unique. My switch lab.com, for instance, prefix, my switch, my SW, for instance, um, organization, my lab, Inc. Contact me at mylab.com. And then you have to establish your revisions. Revision, for instance, plus 3 September 23, description, first version of my switch. Yeah, fine. Okay, then we could start setting our custom variables, because I will need some custom variables. For instance, my interface number will be of type unsigned int of 8 bits wide, but I wanted to have a range from 1 to 12. And then, for instance, for my CPU percent, I want it to be type unsigned integer A, 8 bits wide, and have it range from 1 to 100. Then for my MTUs values, I want to have them unsigned integer of 8 bits wide and a range of 1500 to 1900. Okay, so those are my headers, my revision, and my custom variables. Next, I could start creating my tree, for instance, container, system. I will close the container and close the module, because otherwise I can forget to write down my closing brackets. And the first thing will be, my description for my system. And then I will create a leaf for my host name, and it will be of type string. It will be a description, the actual host name. I'm gonna stop writing descriptions, because otherwise I will have to add a description for everything, and that will take me some more time. I'm going to create a container here for the state description, for instance, hardware. And in this container, I'm going to create the CPU usage will be of type CPU percent. This is the type that I defined here, CPU percent. And then the leave total memory. That will be type of could be unsigned integer 64. But notice that I don't want this data to be modified because it will be a state data. So I will use config false. Very important to use config false for state information. Then I'm going to create a list for my interfaces. This list will have the basic list will be the interface, the number of the interface will be of type interface number. That was the number that we set here, interface number. And then the key for this list will be number. It should be given every time a new interface is added to the system. It should be given at least a number. Leave description. I can add a description for my interface. Then, for instance, I can create an MTU. It will be of type MTU values. This is another type that we created here, MTU value without yes. And then for the speed, in this case, the speed, I would like it to have a type. I'm going to give it some possible values for the speed. Possible values for speed could be enumeration 10 megabits per second, or probably 100 megabits per second, or probably 1000 megabits per second, or even I could set it to auto. And now to finish, I want to have a rate, so I can see what is the current rate of my interface, but I want this to be a state information. I don't want to write it down because I want to read it. It will be type unsigned integer 64. So that's it. Let's check with the Piang if it is correct. And that's it. Oh, there are errors here. 13, 17, and 20. Let's correct them. This seems to be correct. Oh, this should be enclosed within. Oh, my mistake here, sorry. And 9,000 goes beyond. Oh, sorry, this unsigned integer 8 can't call this, so it will be 16. And let's see, that will be no errors here. This will be my main container. Then I have another read-only container, and I have a read and write list. But within here, I have a read-only value of rate. So this is my my file, and this is the tree. Okay, that's it.